The letter arrived on a Tuesday, and Donna Marsh almost threw it away. She was the office manager at a mid-sized commercial real estate firm in downtown Columbus, a woman who had sorted enough misdirected mail in her career to know that most of it wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. But the envelope was hand-addressed in careful elementary school printing, and in the return address corner it said only, Clara, age 12, no street. Just that name, and the business cards stapled to the back. Donna turned the card over. It was a company card, their company's card, the kind they distributed at every industry event and left in piles by the front desk. She set the letter on the stack of items for the CEO's attention, mostly because she could not think of where else to put it. She did not think about it again until she heard the CEO go very still. Renata Cole had run the company for 6 years. She was not a woman who went still. She moved fast, decided fast, and expected everyone around her to keep pace. So when the silence stretched past 30 seconds from the direction of Renata's open office door, Donna looked up. Renata was standing at her desk, the single sheet of paper held in both hands, and she was reading it the way people read something that has reached past the professional part of them and grabbed something older. Donna would learn later what the letter said. Clara had written it for a school assignment, describe a real act of kindness you have witnessed firsthand. The rule was, it had to be true, and it had to be something you thought the world should know. Clara had written about a bus stop in winter. 4 years earlier, when Clara was 8, her father had taken her downtown on a Saturday. They were waiting for the number 7 bus in a February cold snap, the kind of cold that makes the city feel emptied out. A young woman came rushing around the corner, no coat, a portfolio tucked under her arm, scanning her phone with the look of someone whose entire day was falling apart. Her ride share had canceled. She was 20 minutes from a job interview that she told them, half to herself and half to no one, was the only one she'd been able to get in 4 months. Clara watched her father take a long look at the woman. Then he turned to Clara and said, quietly, "Sit tight a second, sweetheart." He walked over, introduced himself, and handed the woman his coat. She tried to refuse it. He shook his head once, the mild, final kind of shake, and held it out until she took it. Then he pulled his wallet, found 2 20s. Clara knew because she had seen him count the wallet that morning, knew that was most of what he had for the week, and called a cab from his own phone. The woman tried to give the money back before she got in. He told her not to worry about it. She pressed one of her business cards into his hand and said she would repay him as soon as she could. He told her he didn't need that either. The cab left. He sat back down beside Clara on the bench, zipped his jacket against the cold, and waited for the number 7 without another word about it. Clara wrote, "He never told anyone he did it. He didn't even tell me he remembered it. I found the business card in his jacket pocket a year later, and I asked him who it was. He said, just someone who needed a little help that day. I am writing this because I think the world should know my dad is the kind of man who gives someone his coat in February, and then doesn't mention it again." She had attached the business card. It was Renata Cole's card. Renata read the letter twice. Then she walked out of her office and said, to no one in particular, "Who is on the maintenance crew for this floor?" Donna told her, 3 men. She named them. "The one who comes is in at 6, Renata said. "The one who always fixes the hallway light before anyone asks." "That's Ray," Donna said. "Ray Devlin." Renata nodded once, the way she did when a number confirmed something she had already suspected. "Get me his personnel file." The file was thin. Ray Devlin, 41, had been with the building's contracted maintenance service for 3 years. Prior to that, 7 years at a manufacturing plant until it closed. Prior to that, 2 years of community college, engineering track, stopped when his wife left, and he became the sole parent of a daughter, then age 2, current status reliable, no complaints, no flags. The notes from the building supervisor said simply, does the work without being asked. There was no photograph in the file, but Donna had seen Ray Devlin every morning for 3 years. She knew him as the man who held the freight elevator for the morning delivery crew, who left a fresh pot of coffee by the supply closet on Mondays, who had a small laminated photograph of a dark-haired girl tucked behind his work badge. She had never once learned his last name. She realized that now, and the realization sat in her chest with a small weight. Renata went to the maintenance floor herself. Donna heard about it from the afternoon crew, the way Renata had waited at the bay door, and the way Ray Devlin had come out of the supply corridor carrying a replacement ballast for a light panel and stopped when he saw who was standing there. He would not have known her. She had been 27 in that February, in someone else's coat, in a cab he had called with his own phone. She had called the number on his phone to repay him the following week and reached a disconnected line. She had carried the guilt of that unanswered debt for 4 years in the back of her mind, the kind of low, unfinished thing a person learns to live alongside. Your daughter wrote us a letter, Renata said. Ray Devlin looked at her for a long moment. Then he said carefully, Clara's in the hospital right now. She had surgery last Thursday. She's going to be fine, but she's been writing letters. The doctors said it helps. Renata said, I know. I want to talk to you about that and about a few other things. When you have a minute. He had a minute. What Donna pieced together afterward, from the account of the afternoon's supervisor who had been close enough to hear, Renata told Ray that the company had a facilities management position opening, a real position, salaried, with full benefits, and that she had been thinking about the right person for it for 6 months. She told him she was not offering it as a favor. She was offering it because she had read his building supervisor's notes, his 3 years of reliable and unasked work, and because a 12-year-old girl's account of his character was the most honest professional reference she had ever received. Ray Devlin did not say much. He said he would need to think about whether he was qualified. Renata told him she had read that he had started an engineering track at college. He said that was a long time ago. She said the company had a tuition assistance program and that the position came with access to it. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Clara's going to need physical therapy after she gets home. 3 times a week, and the coverage I have right now doesn't. Renata stopped him there. She told him the benefits package included full family medical. She told him it was effective on start date. He looked at the floor for a moment, just briefly. Then he looked up. Donna heard it described 3 times by 3 different people, and each time the part that stayed with them was the same, that he did not thank her with the overwhelming, apologetic gratitude of a man who feels he has been handed something he didn't earn. He thanked her the way a man thanks someone who has seen him clearly, quietly, and with his whole bearing. That evening, Renata read Clara's letter aloud at the weekly staff meeting. She did not explain why. She read it straight through, from the bus stop in February to the last line, I am writing this because I think the world should know. My dad is the kind of man who gives someone his coat in February and then doesn't mention it again. And then she set it on the table. The room was quiet for a while. Someone asked who the father was. Renata said he would be joining the company in a facilities management capacity in 6 weeks, and that she expected him to be treated accordingly. 6 weeks later, Ray Devlin moved into the position. His new office was a small one on the building's operations level, with a window that looked out over the loading dock. Not glamorous, but his. On the first morning, Donna walked past the open door and saw that he had already taped Clara's drawings to the wall, 3 of them. The largest one was a crayon rendering of a man in a big coat standing at a bus stop in the snow, a small girl beside him, and a yellow cab pulling away in the background. Clara, Donna learned, had been discharged from the hospital the week before. She was starting physical therapy on Thursdays. The letter, one handwritten page from a 12-year-old girl who thought the world should know her father was a good man, had found the one person in the city who already knew. It had just taken 4 years to arrive,